Okay, well, first of all, Assalamu alaikum, Pakistan. It's a pleasure to be here and share my story with you. First of all, I've got a question, and just put your hands up so I can see you. That's why I'm wearing my glasses. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, sure. I'll be this side. Who's dreamt of ever owning their own business or starting their own business? Well, we've got a few down over here. Yeah? And how many have you attempted at it? Yeah? Well, I hope that you guys have all been successful, but if you haven't, well, this is the journey that I've been through, and it's not to say that I haven't been successful, but I'll tell you that becoming an entrepreneur yourself is not always easy, right? And it's a journey that everybody goes through and learns from them. So I'm going to explain to you what I've been through with my co-founders, and I hope you get some sort of inspiration or some sort of learnings off it. Okay. So, okay, all right. Forget about this agenda. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to tell you what was it all about, right? What's the whole journey about? You know, it's about being resilient, being innovative, and being, you know, there in the moment, right? It's never going to be easy. It has its ups and downs, it has its rewards, and it has its learnings, right? And in our case, we were hoping to become, you know, like it said, global dominance, but at least it's better in the GCC where we're based out of, right? Now, let me tell you a little bit about Spades and why did we even name the company Spades. So in English, as you know, there's a common saying that pay in spades. I can pay in spades, you know, and so we kind of use that as a nomenclature to name our company. But the biggest thing what was Spades about is that Spades came out of the pandemic, right? You guys all remember the pandemic, right? You weren't allowed to go. We were all locked down for a very long time and things like that. And then if you had to go to the restaurant, you weren't allowed to pay with cash. At least in many of the Middle Eastern countries, you weren't allowed to pay in cash. You had to pay using cashless, right? So wireless card, Apple Pay, GPay, whatever it is. But what happened is that that was the way you had to pay, but nobody realized that you still had to order the bill and get the bill, and the person would physically give you a bill. So it defeated the whole purpose of, you know, non-contactless and so forth. So what we came up with was that, hey, why don't we make it completely seamless? Why don't we try to do that? And then what Spades did is that it connected to the restaurant POS. So if you ever go to any of the restaurants and you know they punch in the order with the system that they punch in the order, right? From there, it connects on that. You scan the QR code on your table. It brings it up. There's no app to download. It brings up the bill. You and I can split the bill any way we want, right? We can do an equal split, or I pay for my items, you pay for your items. We can do group payments, whatever you want. And then you pay by Apple Pay, you pay by GPay, you pay by, I don't know, Naya Pay, Sada Pay. There's so many wallets over here. Whichever way you want to pay, you can pay. And then that's it. It sends you the receipt, and it closes the bill on the thing. So that's what Spades was all about, right? So it was about this whole starting in the dine-in space and expanding out, that what we could do differently, right? And so this is what we started off in, was restaurants. Let's start in restaurants. Why? Because people love going out, right? I've even seen it over here in Lahore, that people go out in droves. Like last night in the restaurant till 11 o'clock, the whole restaurant in my hotel, and there were 4 restaurants in that hotel, and they were full, and people still weren't leaving, you know? So it's amazing what you could do over there. Now, what did we face? You know, how did we do it? Yeah, we took a human-centric approach. Now, what does that mean? I'll tell you what that means. We went and actually discovered, we sat in the restaurant and saw this problem, right? We experienced it ourselves. Now, there's a company out there that was already trying to do this and was already experimenting in this place. It's called Sunday. They're based in Europe and in the States. And we went to Europe and actually went and sat and spoke to the restaurant managers and the waiters and asked them how did they feel about it? What did they feel? We took pictures, we did. That is what a human-centric, that's ethnographic research, right? That you guys know about. You need to do this in order to start your thing. In order to truly be innovative, you have to experience the problem that your customers are facing themselves. You cannot just come up with an idea and put it out over there. You're not going to succeed. You have to face it yourself. And that's exactly what we did. And we came back and said, okay, let's revise our proposition and let's do it in UAE and Saudi Arabia, where this is where we started, right? Right? It was supposed to be simple, and it is simple. It's a QR scan, you scan it, it's done. That's it. There's no app to download or anything like that. It's over, right? And last but not least, it was a solution that was meant to them. So we sat there, we go to our restaurants, we believe, listen to the feedback that we get from the waiters, the staff, the operations, and most importantly, the guests themselves, and always try to innovate. Now, what happened? What happened? Well, we had a lot of challenges. So no story is perfect. And so we had a competitor that came in, okay, to do the same thing. They're a copycat, they came in. The Rocket Internet. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Rocket Internet, okay? They're huge, they're 200 portfolio company ones, and they're not shy to say that they copy everything, okay? They were the guys, if you've heard of Namshi in United Arab Emirates, they sold it to the Ammar Foundation for $750 million, okay? They were the ones who started Lazada, which is something like Daraz over here, or Amazon, and they sold it to Alibaba for $1 billion. So you can imagine what type of a threat we had, when they came over to go against us, right? And so they were undermining us, They started destroying us, in many areas of partnerships. They went nuts, right? They went nuts. They started throwing money at the problem. How we used to make our money is through the volumes of transactions. They were giving free transactions to the restaurants and going after our restaurants, and we couldn't compete, right? So what did we do, right? How do you go against when somebody who has millions and millions of dollars, and here's me and my two co-founders who have raised about $4 million, right, compared to their $100 million fund. It was impossible. And so we went through these resilience, and I'm going to tell you, it wasn't easy. At many times, we came to the point that we felt like, let's just shut down. Let's just shut down, let's give up, Let's give up, we're not going to be able to go against this giant, we won't be able to compete, how do you make it happen? And I'm sure, the reason I'm telling you all of this is because those of you who have attempted to become an entrepreneur yourself, I'm sure you've gone through this story yourself. And it's hard. But the belief in oneself, and the belief in your product is crucial. And if you can make that happen, and if you can still keep on believing in the saddest of the times, right, you will succeed. And this is why we told ourselves that when did we come up with this idea? We came up with the idea when it was the pandemic, which was the darkest period of the current century. One of the current century, right? Nobody knew what was going to happen, right? But we still came out of it. Look at us. None of us are wearing masks anymore or keeping a distance from each other. We're all here and hugging and meeting each other. That's exactly what we said, and we said, let's do it. But what did we do? So what we did is that, resilience, What we did is we went back and we diversified. We went to the hospitality industry, and we went to hotels. The hotels that you have over here, right? I mean, some of us, what we're staying here at the Pearl Continental, Hotel One, Avari, you name it, and things like that. We went into the hotels, and we diversified our solution into that area. What did we do? So now, when you're in your room, when you order room service, what do you do right now? You pick up the phone and you call them and said, please, can I get this and that, whatever I like? And they bring it up to you, and then they bring a bill to you, right? Now, you can either sign on the bill, and hopefully it will be charged to your room bill, or they bring you the machine, and you have to pay. Well, now you no longer have to pay. You just do it in your room, and you scan it out, right? Furthermore, what we did is that if you want to go to a room bill, now I'm staying at the Pearl Continental, and I've been here a couple of times to Lahore, right? The front desk, I mean, it's such a popular hotel, the front desk is always busy. To check out of there at the time when everybody else is checking out, it's a nightmare, right? And it's a long wait. Now what you can do is just in your room, you view your bill, it calls the system, views the bill, and pay it the way you like, and walk away. No longer do you have to stop at the front desk and you make it happen, right? That is what we did to challenge our competitor. And our competitor got, because they did not have that knowledge, sorry, can you change that? Thanks. Right? Right? Yeah, no, one back, please, thank you. Right? Because they did not have that knowledge, right? They could no longer throw money at the problem or buy the customers like they were in my restaurants, right? They couldn't buy them anymore. So that's the niche spot that you have to find. If you come across any sort of resilience like of such nature, try to find that weak spot, that weak thread. There's always a silver lining. I can promise you there is. And it came to a point that they could not compete with us, that in the end, they told us, we will buy you. And so they bought us. They said, come and, we can't beat you, right? We'll join with you and come together. And that's what they did. So that was Club, right, is the name of the company. What did we do? We merged our platform. Our platform is much more superior. The brand is still Club now. It's no longer Spades, right? Spades is diminishing. But the platform is ours. They removed their platform and put ours. And that's where they're doing right now. They're expanding. They're right now in United Arab Emirates. They're in Saudi Arabia. They're moving into Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait. They're already in Australia, Singapore, Japan, and Brazil. Don't ask me why Brazil, but they're in Brazil. So they've already started this monopoly. What this monopoly means is that we were the only two players in the market. And now that's where the global, now it's a monopoly of one. And as we expand and we keep listening, they're growing more and more. Right? I'm not going to, here's what I'd like to, yeah, this one, thank you, right? So growth in various markets and things like that. How do we keep on? How do we keep on? That's a saying by Steve Jobs. I don't know if you've ever seen that statement, right? Stay hungry, stay foolish, right? That was our resilience. We succeeded, we survived just by staying hungry and staying foolish. We always learned, we always kept on listening. Doesn't matter whether it was bad advice or good advice or not, we took it and we filtered it out. And we kept on trying and trying and trying and trying. You know the saying, like they say, if you're gonna fail, fail fast, right? And get up. That's exactly what we did. We lived through that and breathed through that, right? To make this happen. And one of the last things that I'm going to tell you, if you guys ever venture into this space, you know, to become an entrepreneur of your own, always challenge the status quo. Never stop for that. Yes, it worked, and that's it. Keep on challenging the status quo, because the more you challenge, the more you'll be better. It's like life, you know. When we start off as kids, right? We keep on. When you first learn to walk, right? You're going to fall down 100 times before you're going to get it right. And learning and things like that. And we keep on learning. That's the challenge status quo. So if you're ever going to do something and you're going to venture into the entrepreneur space, I ask you, I plead to you, that please do not just stop at what you got. If you want something in your product, keep on questioning it, keep on differentiating it, and listen to the end customer, because they know better. They're the ones who are using your product and giving you that feedback that you would not get from any stats, from Finistra, Eurostar, I don't know, whatever statistics you get. No data is true without the true customer giving that data. Yeah. So that's us. You know, were we successful? I don't know. You know, yes, we exited. That was it. You know, we stayed resilient. We stayed innovative, right? And I wish you all the best. Thank you. Nikki? Yeah, no worries. Got any questions? Nikki will ask.
Do we have any questions for Samir? Any questions? Yes, we've got one down the front. Can we get a mic down the front? Azka? Azka, can we get a mic down the front?
Want to give it? I'll speak louder. I've got a pretty loud voice. That's what my mom is.
Hi. You said there was a potential competitor for your idea. So I needed to ask, did you contact with him to have a collaboration or something? I really didn't get it when you were speaking. So did you have a collaboration? Did you consider it, or did you contact with them or not? Thank you.
So initially, no. I mean, they were a competitor, so we were, forced to be enemies, if you want to say that. No, we didn't. I mean, of course, we were both competing in the same space, right, and things like that. And we felt that there was enough space. Look, competition is also good. Let me tell you this much: having competition is very good because it validates what you're doing, right? It validates what you're doing, that you believe in this product, that someone else even thought about doing it, right? And they're even trying to gain that market space. They wanted a monopoly. They were huge, and that's the way Rocket Internet works. They want to dominate the field in they compete in, and so they came after us, and that's it. And so when they finally saw money could not buy the customers, right? They could not destroy us with money, even though they had 100 times more money than us, literally. They could not. So in the end, they were like, well, these guys have done so well in their product, let us just join them and adopt their product and really dominate the world. And that's what they did. So,
great question. Anyone else? Any other? We've got one in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, you in the blue. And then you'll go next.
Yeah, good question. No, it was literally us putting our foots on the ground and going to the restaurants and pleading to them. So it's really like a movie story, whether it's an Indian movie or an English movie that you may have seen. We literally went knocking on the restaurant doors. We built a video. We built a prototype. We put the prototype. That was the biggest difference that we could. Seeing is believing, right? Seeing is believing. No pitch deck is ever going to do. That's why I hate putting up presentations myself, right? And I'm not good at them. But I'm very good at designing prototypes and making them happen. And what we did is we put a prototype and we showed them exactly how it worked, right? And we would go there and beg to them. And literally there were times, you won't believe, we would be waiting for hours outside that restaurant or in that corporate office of the group. And the person would tell us, I'm sorry, the CEO is no longer available. You wasted hours and hours. But that was our resilience. So that's exactly what we did. We put our foot on the ground and think, of course, once it started picking up, word of mouth is big, right? People start believing in your product, and they started spreading it out over there. And then we got references from the current ones we're using, and we used that as a reference, right? So then it became a ripple effect, right? It just became, yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
And then we have another question over here.
Sure. It's a good question. Look, in my prior life,
Good question.
Before I started Spades and things like that, I mean, that's exactly what I did. I come from the financial services world, creating innovative solutions in many areas, and that's exactly what I did. I used to challenge the status quo. I used to go that if this is a problem that you see, or I can see it, and things like that. We did. I mean, initially, yes, we saw that. There was resilience over there and things like that. We went about different ways to overcome that, right? Like I said, word of mouth became big, and we used that heavily and things like that. We also started, we started doing things differently, right? Really putting out the message out there, right? Do not be afraid of going on social media, even if you don't understand it, right? I mean, it is powerful. It is a powerful tool. It's a huge channel. We started putting out over there. We started building our own. We didn't have money so much, so we built, we would hire people from Fiverr.com. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen of Fiverr.com. These are people that work for $5, and they, and they'll create you a video.
Yeah.
Literally. So those were my first videos. Were done for $5, $10.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah. And they built my campaigns, and what we would do is we would really blast it to them and show it to them and things like that. And the biggest thing we would ask for, like I said, the best ethnographic research you get is your customer. No data, like I said, in Euromonitor or Finastra or anything like that, Statista or anywhere you get, there's no data that exists until it's the customer that gives it. So we got our customers to always provide feedback. It doesn't matter whether it was horrible feedback. Initially it was, because it's not a perfect product, right? But we took it, with a strong heart, and we made it happen. And we used that to give back to the customer, right? Really challenging the status quo. So yes, where I would say answer to your question, do challenge the status quo. Don't stop over there. You're right. Figure out if there's a challenge, how can I beat it again? Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Samir. Thank you.